A single choice. A moment of confidence. A decision that seemed completely harmless at the time, and then everything changed. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're not just looking at a standard business case study. We're diving into a dark, cautionary tale about ambition, corporate hubris, and a giant's fatal blindness. It's the story of how an undisputed empire was dismantled from the inside out, literally by its own sheer arrogance. $50 million. I want you to let that sink in for a second. In today's corporate landscape, that's practically a rounding error. But back in the year 2000, this exact figure represented a massive crossroads. It is the precise cost of the worst strategic mistake in the history of entertainment, a sum that could have secured a global dynasty, but instead guaranteed its total destruction. So ask yourself, would you reject the future for $50 million? If it was standing right there in front of you, begging for a lifeline, would you even recognize it? Or would you just laugh it out of the room? In this explainer, we're going to step right into the tension of a boardroom where that exact question was answered, where the executives in power chose the comfort of the past over the uncertainty of the future. Section 1, the undisputed king, the peak of a global entertainment empire. Let's go back to the late 1990s. Blockbuster was an absolute titan. I mean, Friday nights across America basically belonged to them. And this number right here, this was their footprint, 9,000 global retail stores. We're talking about a sprawling physical empire generating billions of dollars in annual revenue. When your logo is one of the most recognizable brands on the entire planet, you really start to believe your reign is permanent. But here's the thing. Immense success, it creates an invisible weakness. Blockbuster operated on a highly dangerous assumption. They believed their physical stores and those highly lucrative late fees they charged us would just always be necessary. They operated under the belief that the future would look exactly like the present. And that assumption? Well, it was fatal. Section 2, the $50 million mistake. September 2000. While Blockbuster was busy celebrating its invincibility, there was this struggling startup founded by Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph, and they were bleeding cash. Just look at the absolute absurdity of this matchup. On one side, you have Blockbuster with unmatched global infrastructure. On the other, Netflix, a niche little business whose entire model consisted of mailing DVDs in red envelopes. Honestly, looking at this, it's pretty easy to see exactly why Goliath felt so confident dismissing the underdog. Desperate for a lifeline, Netflix actually offered to sell their company to Blockbuster for approximately $50 million. Blockbuster's CEO at the time, John Antioco, he thought it was a joke. He passed. He firmly believed the internet was just a fad, famously stating, "The dot-com hysteria is completely overblown." They literally laughed the founders of Netflix out of the room. Section 3, betting on the future, the shift in consumer habits. Now that rejection forced Netflix into a corner. But instead of folding, they closely studied human psychology. They realized what Blockbuster completely ignored. Consumers desperately craved convenience, and they absolutely hated late fees. So Netflix took 3 really aggressive steps. 1, they introduced a flat-fee monthly subscription. 2, they eliminated late fees entirely. And 3, in 2007, they made a massive technological leap by pioneering instant video streaming. Netflix wasn't just adapting, they were completely rewriting the rules of entertainment. Section 4, the empire collapses, the fatal cost of arriving late. As our consumer habits shifted to digital, Blockbuster's greatest advantage, those thousands of physical stores, well, they mutated into an insurmountable anchor dragging them down into the deep. And this divergence was terrifyingly rapid. In 2000, Blockbuster rejects Netflix. By 2007, Netflix launches streaming. And just 3 short years later, in 2010, crushed by debt, Blockbuster files for bankruptcy. Just think about that. A single decade. That is all it took for an invincible global empire to completely collapse. Section 5, a new cinematic giant. The $450 billion behemoth. So the dust settled. The iconic blue and yellow signs were taken down. And left completely unchallenged, Netflix began a period of explosive, almost violent growth. They went from just 18.3 million members the year Blockbuster died to a staggering 325 million paid memberships globally by 2025. They didn't just capture Blockbuster's old market, they expanded it far beyond human comprehension. And Netflix ruthlessly expanded their reach. They didn't just stream movies, They started producing premium original series, shifting the entire industry with House of Cards back in 2013. They went on to secure historic Emmy and Academy Award records, they captured major live sports broadcasting deals, and by late 2025, they launched a breathtaking $72 billion bid to acquire Warner Brothers. That quirky little mail-order DVD company, it had transformed into the very studio system it once set out to disrupt. $450 billion. That is the estimated market capitalization of Netflix in 2026. They're the most valuable entertainment and media company on Earth. It's an entire empire built literally on the ashes of Blockbuster's arrogance. The lesson we have to take away from this explainer is a profound and honestly chilling psychological truth. Success creates confidence, but too much confidence, well, that creates blindness. You see, Blockbuster didn't lack money. They certainly didn't lack customers. What they lacked was vision. They truly believed they were simply too big to fail. A single choice back in the year 2000, an offer of $50 million, an industry leader laughed. The startup survived, and the giant was completely erased from existence. One bad decision. So consider the choices your own organization is making today. Are you building the future, or are you simply protecting the past?